everyone, today we're taking a look at the BetaFPV HX115 LR. LR being long range, but don't make any mistake about it, there's no GPS on this. It's long range because this is the new 12 amp board, 1S 12 amp board that BetaFPV has just recently started using. And of course, if you're doing ELRS, you need to have your module, although you don't have to have BetaFPV's module, TX module that is. Just you need to have a module because this board uses Express LRS. We've also got the Caddx Ant Lite FPV camera. We've got 1102 18,000 kV motors on HQ 3020 props. The VTX is the M02 from BetaFPV and it is power switchable from 25 milliwatts to 350 milliwatts. It does come with a circular polarized antenna. It does come with the B220 connector, which is far better than the rolled pin PH20 connector that we had to suffer through so many years. The stock battery is the BetaFPV 450 milliamp battery, and it is the only battery that it comes with. But in my flight out front, we're going to fly it on the 600 milliamp GNB battery, which does fit in the battery holder, but it's a bit tight. It weighs about 44.5 grams. With the stock BetaFPV battery, it weighs 57 grams. With the GNB 600 milliamp battery that I'm using in the flight, it weighs almost 60 grams. The single body bottom plate is 2 millimeters thick, and the top plate looks to be 1.5 millimeters thick. And motor post to motor post, I am getting about 125 millimeters. Not only do you get a 450 milliamp battery to fly the HX115 LR, but you also get an extra set of props. That's pretty much all that comes in the box. Got a bug right in front of us. Shoe bug. Bet you'll shoe in a second. Huh? Wobbles and bobbles. So in the top right hand corner we've got the LQ, which is what's important when it comes to Express LRS. This is not set up to our RSSI, the lower negative number. I believe that's RSSI. Whatever that number is, that's not set up properly in order to give us any sort of measurable unit that would tell us about our signal quality. We want to look at the LQ up there. 6 and 100 is what you're going to see through most of this flight. I mentioned it in the kind of intro that, you know, this isn't a traditional long range by any stretch. Typically with long range, you want something that'll fly for 20 minutes and you want something with GPS on it. This is kind of some mid-category micro cruiser is what I would think is more appropriate for someone who wants to go out and you're not looking to do punch-outs, you're not looking to do high aerobatics of any sort, you're not looking to do tricks, you're just going to go out and kind of explore. But you're probably noticing, as I said as I was flying it, we got a lot of bobbles and wobbles. And going into this, I kind of expected that because I have experience flying these motors on these props on 1S. And I just don't think you're going to get a good tune out of this. I'm not even going to try because I do have prior experience, and I did try to tune it. I was using Emu Flight at the time, which is my preferred flight firmware right now, and I couldn't get a good tune out of it. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying the amount of time that someone like myself might spend on it is going to be more than I would typically spend. So don't expect to come back later on with a good tune on this. I've essentially already tried and I gave up the ghost. I went on to smaller props actually because I use these motors on the Starlord, the TKS Starlord. You've probably seen that around. On a 2-inch prop, this motor works great. It's actually a really good 1S motor. And again, I had it on the Starlord. You know, that was where I chose my own build parts, and the 1102 18,000 kV motor is what I came up with. So the motors are fine. It's just over-propped in this case. And if the motor can't handle the size and weight of the prop, then you get something like this. There is a breeze, I have to acknowledge that, and down the middle of the road the breeze is worse. It always blows down this road when there is wind. I guess it can be dead calm sometimes and not blow down the road, but down the middle of the road is where it's going to be worse as far as the wind speed goes. But even with that, I flew it in the backyard where you're pretty protected, and I've gone around the back of the house kind of testing that 350 milliwatt video transmitter just to kind of see what sort of penetration we might get. Of course, that's a huge variable, but I think what they need to do is they need to put a 2-inch prop on this, a 2-inch tri-blade, and make something that's more fun. Matter of fact, I think they need to bring back the HX110. We've talked about that on Facebook a little bit. That was a good flying quad. I'd like to see BetaFPV bring that back and bring it back in an Express LRS edition that used 65 millimeter push-on props. So that's another option. So if you bought one of these or you got one of these and you want to attempt to get rid of the flutters, I think the first thing I would do was try a smaller, lighter prop, which I like the Gemfan. They're the 2023s. They're a tri-bladed prop. Or get the 65 millimeter press-on props. We've flown those a lot over the years. There are a few different kinds. I don't think I necessarily have a strong opinion about which one, but because it's been a little while since I've done the push-on prop flying. But that's another opportunity to give the motor more control over the prop and therefore get you better straight, smooth flight. And I don't think your efficiency is going to drop all that much because you're requiring more energy of this motor to spin this 3-inch prop than you really should. So a little bit of a problem with the conception of this prop and motor combination. I do like the frame. I like how the frame looks. I like the fact that it's kind of a true X with a traditional sort of quad style body, and the mounting for the Express LRS antenna is pretty cool up the front of the camera with the TPU print, and they've got a nice circular polarized antenna. I do think we could probably get better reception with other video receivers, but this is what is in it. And the board does have connectors as well as pretty good sized soldering pads. So if you were to be switching out the motors to something else, you got some other 1S motors, maybe something in the 1202 size or in the 1303 size that you wanted to try out on yours or build your own up. That's kind of what I would do. Go with a bigger motor. An 1103 can handle it, but I don't know how many 1103 motors that are 1S are really out there. There could be a lot. I just haven't looked in that category. Mainly 1103, I'm looking 2S and more. But 1103 would be the absolute smallest I would run this prop on. I think otherwise you need to jump up to a 1202, 1203, or even more. And you'll get more prop control, and therefore the flight controller and flight firmware will be able to maintain a smooth, level flight a lot better. All right, we come in for a landing, and you get to see my camera. That's how I record audio. I did fly it in the backyard here. And this is more wind protected. I fly back here all the time. This area, while it still does get the breeze, I would say it's 60% less than it is out front. And that's one of the reasons why I flew it in back. This is actually a different day, though, so not the same wind overall. But I wanted to give you another sample. Also, if we move forward in the video here where I do some flips and rolls, we'll see some big bounce back in the tune. Now, normally you would fault the tune for that. In my case, I'm faulting the size of the prop on this motor. I think the motor is overpropped, so it can't control the prop enough in order to give us the dead stick flips on snap flips and rolls. So yeah, something I wanted to discover, but I think the one thing that I do approve of this is the fact that it has a B220 connector, which is a much better connector than the PH20, as well as a new board that I sure hope we continue to see new development with Express LRS either being built on board or boards that are more suited to Express LRS. Mainly they're having an open UART for RX1 and TX1 or RX2 and TX2, what have you. A full UART that we can tack on an Express LRS receiver, and then we get rid of FrSky and SPI forever. That's what I'm looking for. What are you looking for out of Express LRS? Maybe you haven't joined the Express LRS party. I have something coming up for you in the next couple days on Express LRS. I've got 2 videos I need to make on that. So if you're interested in Express LRS, I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but I've done, I think it's 3 or 4 Express LRS videos already. You can go back on the channel and search for them. I'll also put links in the video description to the Express LRS videos, BetaFPV products, as well as other companies' products as well. Something that I may not have mentioned is that the new board does have USB-C. Some people see that as, moving with current times. Some people say as, well, you got a bigger, heavier connector on a micro all-in-one board. Let's go back to the lighter, smaller connector. So it's 2 in one hand and 1 in the other. I don't know how you feel about that. But as I said, I do like the frame. I do like how it looks. I think the TPU they printed looks real nice. I don't mind the blue. Of course, I'm a fan of blue. And if you do want to check this out, I'm seeing it come in a little over $120. I'll have a link down in the video description if you'd like to check it out. I think it's overpropped, but if you really like this and you want to build it up, there'll be a link to a frame. Or if you just want to buy this and you're going to try out the different props that I talked about, Gemfan 2023s can handle this pretty well, and some press-on props, some 65mm press-on props that they don't have screw holes in them. I don't think we called them T-style. I'll find some somewhere and I'll link them down in the video description as well. It's been a minute since we've done some press-on props sort of flying, but I think those props on this combination would give you a nice smoother flight, and I doubt you would lose too much flight time. Again, I was flying the 650 milliamp, or excuse me, the 600 milliamp GNB that I'd converted to the BT20. I don't believe these batteries are available with the BT20. But it does come with a GNB 450 milliamp that does come with the BT20. So links down in the video description. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know in the section down below. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching.